Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to Moscow region, where I live. Right behind me, there is a brand new shop that just opened very recently, and actually until today I've not been in there, and I want to go check it out with you. I want to show you what they've got, and can we find better somewhere else? Well, let's go and see. The place I want to go inside is called WineLab Supermarket. And this is a brand new alcohol shop that's opened in this building right here. Very large building as well. And this is a very typical suburban area in Moscow region. This is where I live. It's called Aprelevka. Now, if you're curious where I actually live, I live in the building just there. So this is no more than a 2-minute walk from my house. And this building is super interesting. It's full of small businesses on the lower ground floor. There is everything you possibly need and more in the next building from where I live. But this particular location on the corner here, in 10 years, there's only ever been a very small private kindergarten, which closed about 5 years ago. And this place has been empty until very recently, that they've opened a chain alcohol shop called WineLab. And I want to take you inside for have a look. There is more than 2,000 of these in all of Russia. And I think it might be interesting to have a look and see what we can find. The walking in from outside, actually the weather today is quite cold, so there's a lot of change in temperature in the shop. It's minus 14 Celsius outside. And look who is here, Zhenya.
Hi.
Now, are you happy there's a new shop in our neighborhood?
Yeah, I am. Because I can buy my favorite wine here.
All right, so Zhenya's coming along with me today. She is going to head off in another direction shortly after this and have a look at this store. So this is really interesting that this was empty for so many years, and then this alcohol shop has popped up and appeared out of nowhere. So primarily they sell wine, champagne and spirits. They have also got some snacks as well. Plenty of wine. Now I'm going to walk through this shop rather briskly. There is plenty of imported products, wines from Spain, wines from Italy. Now I was going to see if I can find today Australian or New Zealand wine. And the only one I noticed here is called Green Life. And it's just very simple the way they've got it labeled, because it's got different countries on the front. So I wonder if it's bulk and then rebottled for the Russian market. The shop is very nice, the way it looks. This is a chain store or a franchise style shop. There's 2,000 of these in Russia, and I think there's a couple of these in my town. There isn't one immediately where I live until this one opened. They do actually have some snacks. These are really what I would call beer snacks. Of course, chips we know so well. I've even got some chilled beer and cola as well. There's even a real Pepsi next to Eves, which is the factory where Pepsi is made. So lots of these hard lemonades. Even Corona up there. So when you buy beer in Russia, it's always individually sold. So you buy it by the bottle or can. There's even a chilled section for some vodka as well. Also some cheese right there. Normally when I walk around town, I would have walked past this building and the roller doors would have been down on the windows, but now they're all open. It's really interesting. They've actually replaced all the windows. They've completely renovated what used to be here. There's more beers on this side. Has anybody had Duff beer before? I don't think, unless you're Homer Simpson, maybe you haven't had it. Lots of small batch beers. Also some drinks, water. They've got the giant bottles. Have a look at that Chivas Regal there. That's the 4.5 litre one. Some packaged bottles. Even Captain Morgan and Bacardi, Dewar's. So all of the well-known international brands. I was curious to come in here and have a look at this place, and finally I've done it. They even have some chocolates and ice cream as well. It's more than just an alcohol shop. They've even got black and white chunky Kit Kat. That's interesting. Chunky Kit Kat. I've not heard of the black and white one. Does anybody know that? If you're from somewhere in the world and have seen it, let me know in the comments. If you're watching this video as the first one on my channel, I'm an Australian who lives here in this town in Moscow region, and I make videos about everyday life in Russia and in English. And I want to show you just normal things and typical things as much as I can. So I hope you enjoy this video and some of the extra places we're going to go to after this shop. I was just having a look here at the register and the counter area. Now there is staff in here, there is people coming in and out of the shops. The gentleman who works here doesn't really want to be on camera, which I completely understand. Of course, you have to be of legal age to buy alcohol and tobacco. That's a standard. They do have some counter specials right here. Maybe these are the last bottles. They also sell tobacco here. It's against the law to publicly advertise it, so that's why it's behind counters. They've also got the mini bottles at the back, so you can get yourself a small bottle of wine or alcohol. They've even got that very inexpensive vodka in a glass for 70 cents. Let's have a look at their spirits and what they have. So over on this side, lots of whiskeys. They do have some American whiskeys here, but really just all the classic ones. Jim Beam, Jack Daniels, very well known, but you can get in all sizes. 1 litre bottle of Jim Beam for $22. The bottle of Jack Daniels for $27. And there is a nice selection of Scotch whiskies as well. Macallan. All of the choices of Dewar's, which is really nice. Dewar's is the same company that would be Bacardi. They're from the same distributor and owner. Irish whiskies. Lots of choices. And this is a neighborhood liquor store. Now, interestingly, in this same building, if I was to walk another 2 minutes, there's actually another one that's well established and has been here for a lot of years. And this place has opened up as a new place or new location. Got some cognacs. Kremlin Award. I wonder how you managed to get one of those awards. And of course, the vodka section. There's quite a few choices also. Generally, the suburban liquor stores will have more vodka than some of the ones closer to the city. And then supermarkets have even more choices. Absolute vodka there from Sweden. And then there's some more famous Russian brands, Beluga. They have every choice of Beluga. I saw this one just recently on another YouTube channel. This Alleya. Perhaps some rum and gins. They have Zacapa, which is considered one of the better rums in the world. For anyone that's a rum drinker, do you drink it straight or do you mix it? Let me know in the comments. A few different types of tequila, Plantation XO. This is a very good choice. This is the anniversary edition bottle with the cork stopper. So yeah, very nice selection. Bailey's has not left Russia. The 1 litre bottle, $24. Now, one thing that's important to point out is all of these prices are including tax. So there's no additional tax at the register. It's part of the price that's on the shelf. So it's very easy that what you see is the price and that's what you pay. There's an 18-year-old Glenfiddich there as well. So yeah, very nice choice for a brand new shop and a very much a suburban typical area that would be anywhere in Russia. I mean, I can walk to another liquor store in the same building. Actually, in my building, which we saw at the beginning of the video, across the street, we also have an alcohol shop as well. But can we do better? I wonder. So we're just heading off now into our local town. And Janya, what did you think of this brand new liquor store?
I think shop was nice, but I think you can find somewhere in Moscow much better.
With more choices?
With more choices, yeah.
More whiskies?
Yeah.
Maybe more Australian wines?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I need to head to Moscow and see if I can find better shops. Let's go. So Zhenya is going to come along with me on the train to Moscow, and then she's going to go about her day. And I think I can find a couple of other shops. I think obviously if you've seen how long this video is, I will be able to find something. It's actually snowing here this morning. I'm not sure what it'll be like in Moscow, maybe not quite the same. It didn't really predict too much snow today. So what I'll do is from here, I'm going to teleport to Moscow. And the next clip you're going to see is me walking in, or at least showing you a better shop. I've made it here to Bonvi, and it says on the outside there, whiskey and cognac. And this is actually on a fairly busy road here. And very classic old apartment building upstairs. Imagine living right above a whiskey shop. Let's head on inside and see what they have. I can see right in the window there, Johnny Walker Green Label. There's also some very old Macallan as well. And this place was highly recommended to come here. And I always jump on people's recommendations of coming to different shops when I can. Now, there's a very nice lady here who is working today, and there is quite a selection of alcohol. The way they've got it laid out here, it's pretty much single bottle displays, and there's the stock behind, and then they have a fairly large store, I might imagine, because most of the shelves can only fit 3 bottles of each. So this front section has all of the spirits, so cognacs, whiskies, and hard liquor. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to walk around and get a good idea of what they've got. You can see also plenty of champagnes back here. There is Dom Perignon right there. And then there is a very tiny vodka selection. It really is quite small for Russia. And what they really focus on here is whiskeys, cognacs. And then there's a wine room as well. There's even some grab and go bottles right on the counter. There's actually tequila right there, even Gordon's gin. And then I just noticed up in the top corner here, there is Tito's vodka, very well known American vodka. And then there's some different vodkas, obviously from Russia, from around the world. There's also tequilas, Don Julio, there is Patron, there's Corralejo, and then over here there's some liqueurs. We all know Baileys very well. There's always lots of different versions of Baileys. So many companies try to replicate what they do. Beefeater gin. As I'm pointing out the different brands, of course, you could pause the video. I'm going to try and go slowly so you can get an idea of what they have. Down here is a very interesting drink. This is called Bayou. This is from New Orleans, Louisiana. And even if you live in America, you won't see Bayou in a lot of shops. It's very interesting that it's tucked away in the corner here. And we come around to the rum section. They have some very nice premium rums. I think most people know Ron Zacapa. Probably one of the better rums in the world by a lot of critics. There's lots of very well-known brands. Even some rum from Belize right there. What you don't see is the classic Bacardi, Captain Morgan. There are some Cuban rums, even Kraken. And then all of the different whiskies. There is a very large selection of premium and high-end whiskies here. There is a small selection of American bourbons and whiskies. I just noticed on this other shelf, Basil Hayden, Templeton Rye. It's really fascinating, these shops and the selection they have. I mean, this rivals any country in the world's alcohol shops. This is probably an even bigger selection than any average Australian shop. They also have some Japanese whiskies as well. There's actually some brands I've not even personally heard of. There, Highland Park. There's the original Game of Thrones bottles up there as well. This is amazing. And then have a look at all of the Macallan choices. And then even Terra, which was duty-free release. And they have it here on a shelf in Moscow. So interesting. Aberfeldy, which I think is part of Bacardi's house of products. So if you want to pause any and then compare pricing, of course this is all in rubles. The exchange rate hovers around about 100 rubles to $1 US. Singleton. There is Glenlivet, most of the classic ones. There's a few more Macallans down there. And then even Johnny Walker. And even Chivas Regal have these extra aged. So rather than the classic 12-year-old, they've got 13-year-old tequila cask selection. How interesting is that? Evan Seals. If anybody knows these brands, please let me know in the comments your thoughts on some of them. There is so many that I don't recognize myself. It's really so interesting. Well, I think it is. That's me, and that's the whole idea of this video, to show you this large selection. And then as I pan around, they do have some large bottles. These are called Jeroboams, and depending on if anybody knows this word or not, it sometimes references the large champagne bottles that they normally have at the Formula One and places like that. But they've got a couple of different whiskies. There's even a giant tequila there as well. Hennessy. I think most people know that very well. That looks like the 1.5 litre bottle, I think. The larger one. And then Very large selection of cognacs. Now, somebody corrected me in one of the comments on a video that I said Armagnac is from Armenia. You know, that's what I was always taught and always explained how to say it. But they make cognacs in Armenia. But of course, cognac is quite specific to France. Filbert, Hein. If anybody knows the brands, let me know. It'll be nice to understand a little bit more about them. And then they have a glass case here. So everything is open to grab and pay for, of course. It's a very small shop. And then they've got some locked away here that are a little bit more premium. They've got the 25-year-old Florida Canya there, which is a very nice aged rum. Amazing. Really. I don't know all of these cognacs. I would love to know more about them. And they have some incredibly expensive bottles. This Macallan here, the Archival Series, and it has on the label there 600,000 rubles. What a choice, really and truly. Amazing. And there's some other older whiskies, Dalmore, Glenmorangie. I was trying to find the most expensive item, and then as I'm searching around, they get higher and higher. They've got these Glenfarclas up the top here for 1 million rubles. So there is obviously a market, and there's people who come in and buy these products. Wow. So as I'm walking around these shops, please let me know in the comments if you recognize something. I don't want this to be about the pricing, because obviously there's a lot of fluctuation with some products being more expensive and cheaper. However, it's the assortment and the choices that I think is really quite extreme here in Russia, and that's what I want to show in this video. I want to take you in the back and show you their wine room. And they've got this separate section here. This is how they very typically lay out wines in a lot of the premium alcohol shops, where it's usually just one bottle, maybe two. So they've got absolutely hundreds and hundreds of types. And there is no end to the value that you could spend, you know, cheap, expensive. We've even got some nice glasses as well. I don't know really anything about wine. Alcohol and spirits is really what I know, and that's my background. But they've got this wine room in the back. The lady that's working here says that they do tastings from time to time, and they invite people, particularly the customers that perhaps shop frequently here, to do tastings. This looks like the clearance section. Maybe it's the last bottles. But you can get a bottle of wine here for $7, $8, $10. It's not all premium and high-end. There is a couple of Australian wines that I noticed. $16, $20. And then there is pretty much a drink to suit everybody. And it's really just the selection that gets me when I come into shops like this. And you'll see throughout the video all of the choices. And it's not necessarily about coming in and wanting to spend the price of a car or the price of my kitchen that we recently had done. It's really about the assortment and range and the amount of choices that they've got. Did you find anything that you might like? Would you perhaps spend more than what you expected coming in here? I think really the key is to have a budget, or with alcohol, I mean, buy what you normally buy or something similar. They've got the Kalashnikov vodka here. Now that's the very famous weapon. And you can actually find these in different shops in Russia, in different shapes. And this one is 10,900 rubles. So they've got plenty of choices. This is just one shop in Russia. The next place we've come to is actually on the same road as Bonvi, but it's about a 20-minute walk away in this much older, very classic Russian apartment building. Very beautiful buildings in the center of Moscow. And you would barely know that this is an alcohol shop. And this is really considered more of a boutique. The place is called whiskey.ru, which is basically their website. And the entrance doubles as the entrance to a barber shop. And I'm not sure, maybe a tattoo studio as well. Let's go and check it out. I will actually put a map link to all the places that I've visited through this video. Interestingly, right across the road is the American Embassy, or I think it's the American Consulate at the same time. A very large building, literally across the street from this alcohol shop. So if you're curious, they're not normally this big. There's only a few countries with large embassies like this. The Australian one is like a house compared to this place. Let's head on inside and have a walk around. It is very noisy outside from the road. So it's nice to come into places like this where it's much quieter and much more peaceful. The never-ending traffic on the ring road right there. And there is another very nice gentleman here who is manning the counter. There is also a lady working as well. Actually have some chocolates right here on the counter. Always good to get some snacks at the same time. And let's just have a bit of a walk around. Again, I'll try and do this slowly so you can get an idea of some of the choices. Lots of champagnes. And there's some different martinis. There is actually some of the liqueurs right here on this corner. It's always interesting how the shops are laid out and the different way that they've got the bottles arranged. And this being a more of a boutique shop, they don't have that supermarket feel. They've just got one bottle of everything displayed, and then they can get things from the back. You can see Bailey's right there, very well known. Diageo, Kahlua. Now this is actually a really old building, so a lot of this architecture they've had to work around. They do have a few different glass cases with premium drinks in here. There's also some glassware as well if you want to get some accessories. Very nice. Oh, there we go. Have a look at that, even better. They've got this, I think it's a cognac selection called Urte, and you can buy an apartment in Russia for the price of this set. I'm not sure if I've ever seen that before. If anyone knows about it, let me know. And then this is the main shop itself, and they have some of their premium things here behind glass cases. However, the keys are in all of the locks. I think there's too many to take out, so it's pretty much unmanned. This sort of shop doesn't get, full, if you like. It doesn't need to be full with people. I'm sure at different times of the day, there's people coming in. I'm interested to see the American whiskey choices, all of the different Jim Beam products. So most of these shops focus heavily on whiskey and then cognac and then wine. So again, very big wine selection. No Australian wines. And I did notice somewhere the New Zealand ones. What's happening with all the Australian wines? Now, if you see again how this is laid out, it's all individual facings of the bottles. So you probably have 300 or 400 types of wine, and prices vary greatly. You're looking at somewhere around about $7 up to hundreds of dollars. But there's a lot of very reasonably priced drinks as well. There's also some of the larger Jeroboam bottles also here. These very big 2-liter and 3-liter bottles. I did notice, actually have a look at these in the wood boxes. They've got the large bottle of Tito's just there. And you can't buy that in America. There is a law that doesn't allow a bottle more than 1.75 liters to be sold in a liquor shop. And yet we've got an American bottle here in Moscow that's 3 liters, and I can buy right now at the counter and walk out with. I've actually got a maker's mark just here with the glasses, which is really nice. Did anybody know that law about the large bottles in America? It's really amazing as you walk around and just have a look closer at some of the different bottles and some of the unique bottles that they've got. I mean, 400,000 rubles, 700,000 rubles. I mean, these Macallans are bottles that are really what some people call unicorns. Anybody's heard that expression before? These older bottles that exist, but in such limited amounts. There's a very old Glenlivet up there, reserve vintage. And all of the Macallans, edition number 3, edition number 5. If you know about these bottles, please let me know in the comments of the video or timestamp the spot where you've seen it. There is more choices here than you can get in most duty-free shops around the world, and definitely traditional standalone liquor stores. Glenfiddich right there. Really, there is a lot of wow, and I know I'm doing that to myself as I'm walking around. It's really insane what the prices can go up to. I mean, I want to make videos about shops, and I'm constantly amazed by how many things that are in Russia that I could not walk into a shop in Australia and buy. And even if you went to some boutique shops, they don't exist. And how can I walk out of the metro station and into a shop and buy it right here? Some different cognacs. Martell, I think everybody knows. Courvoisier. And then the selection broadens out a whole lot. Does anybody drink cognac? Let me know in the comments. Maybe you drink a certain alcohol brand or type, because the choices of them here. And these are small alcohol shops. These are not the supermarket sized places. These are very much boutique shops. All the different Hennessy's that you can get. It's really fascinating for me, having come from a retail background and working in duty-free on cruise ships. You know, with the selection that we had access to, and then you come to Russia and the selection is 2 or 3 times as many choices. All the different tequilas up there. If you're a gin drinker, there's only 40 choices of gin. Of course, Cuba being a friendly country with Russia, they have plenty of choices of Cuban rums. They have also plantation there, which is a very interesting story. This is Caribbean rum that's aged in cognac barrels in France, which is a very unique thing to do with rum from the Caribbean. I think there's also some different liqueurs here from Serbia or Croatia. And a very tiny selection of vodkas. I do have a couple of Beluga branded products. So this is the Tito's here. This is the what they call handle bottle, 1.75. That's the largest bottle you can buy in America of any brand of alcohol by law. And then that large 3-liter bottle cannot be sold in a shop in America. I really didn't realize when I start to look around these shops a little bit slower the amount of products each different brand produces and how many different versions they make of one particular product. And there's whole shelves of the different versions of whiskies from France, of course from Scotland, all the different Dalmore up there, Glenfiddich, Glenlivet, Singleton. I think a lot of these are very well known mainstream brands. Again, plenty of choices of Macallan. They always called Macallan the whiskey maker's whiskey. And one of the theories is the different distilleries in Scotland always have a bottle of Macallan on hand to yardstick their product against. And if that's a truth, that's very interesting. Even so many choices of Jack Daniels down there. They've got the 100 proof bottle in Bond bottle. See the different Woodford Reserve, Elijah Craig. There's even an Irish whiskey section. Penderyn. I don't know these brands. Adelberg I know. Lafroig. Lagavulin. These are all products that are in duty free. Maybe not so many choices in retail shops. But here in Russia, more than available. Head on out of the whiskey.ru shop. I actually want to thank Mikhail, who's the guy working at the store. He was super nice. We actually had a very nice chat just now about alcohol and what my previous job was before I started doing YouTube. I think a lot of people know that I was working in duty-free shops selling alcohol and tobacco, and I did that for 20 years, working on cruise ships, working in airport locations. So coming to these shops, it's like I'm coming home in a small way. But then when I see the selection here, it just blows my mind. And I hope seeing this whiskey.ru shop. By the way, he's been in this location for 20 years. So these are very well-established stores here in Moscow. I've reached my final location for this video. And I think I might have saved the best for last. This shop is called Decanter. It's actually in the lower level of this apartment building. And this is a rather interesting shop. This particular chain of stores, there's only 4 of them in Russia, and they're all in Moscow. And this one is considered their biggest location of the 4. And I think, just based on briefly walking around, this is the best liquor store in Russia. And what I'm going to do, like I've done in the previous couple of shops, is walk around nice and slowly and give you an idea of some of the products they have. There is a couple of gentlemen working here in the store, and I think this place is a good way to end the video and show you what is really available here in Russia and some of the choices and prices of things. Now, I've said that in a few of the different shops, it's not about the prices of things, comparing it with somewhere. For me, this is about the selection. I didn't even know there was a Mongolian vodka for 4.8 million rubles. That would have to be amazing stuff to drink. Now, they do have a mixture of alcohol that's completely open on the shelves, and then there's some glass cases, and the shop has things mixed around. And they have, again, mostly whiskies, cognacs, and then some wines and champagnes. They do have also liqueurs and everything else, but it's not the main focus of the store. But they have probably Russia's smallest vodka selection. And really all the vodkas in Russia are in the supermarket style shops, the close to home liquor stores, particularly the ones that are built onto apartment blocks like this one. So there is a very tiny selection. I think it has to be the smallest by a long way. They do have Grey Goose up there though. And it looks like it might be on special. It's got a different colored tag. There is some liqueurs here. So there's some that are from Slovenia, Slovakia, I think maybe even Poland and different places. If you know about these, let me know. And we come around then to this very wide selection of cognacs. And like I pointed out, I know some of the brands, but then there is just brands beyond brands. And is it safe to say there's at least 100 or more different types? I think at the minimum there has to be that many. This is really just next level. They do have some refrigerated wines as well, or chilled wines. It is really crazy. Now, if you can tell me there's a better liquor store anywhere in Russia, let me know in the comments. And perhaps how this might compare to the local shop where you live, let me know as well. I almost feel like this shop needs its own dedicated video because of the amount of choices. What would be really interesting is to have somebody else here and share this excitement about the shop and the choices. So if anybody lives in Moscow and you want to come and be on a video with me, and maybe you have a passion for wine or whiskies, let me know, and we could come back and do a more detailed walk around of this place. I was actually looking up this company last night and trying to decide which of their locations to come to, and I think I've got very lucky coming to this particular one. It was a 1 in 4 chance about which store I'd end up at, and here I am at this one. Plenty of liqueurs. I think everybody knows Kahlua. They have lots of these different herbal liqueurs as well from all sorts of different countries. I don't even know some of these different ones. I can see here from Italy, from Germany. If anybody knows these brands, please let me know more in the comments. They do have some absinthe up there, which is the drink that's meant to make you hallucinate. If anybody believes that. I know in a lot of countries it's not legal, and there's different strengths of it. They have some port wines here also. Now everything is completely labeled, and of course the prices do vary greatly. So there is something for every budget. I think even coming into this shop, we come around then to sparkling wines. I think I'd be lost, especially with not knowing a lot of the brands. I think we're so limited in other countries to the selection that we're given or we're offered to sell. And then you come into this kind of place and you see what's really available and just the amount of choices Now these are all the different reds and white wines, and they're actually set out by country. Now, where I don't know the country makes it a little more difficult. I was searching for Australian or New Zealand wines, and they have some tucked away. Not these ones, but it's the New Zealand ones are down the bottom here. They won't be too happy if there's any New Zealand viewers. And then the Australian wines are right here. But there's still 12 different choices of Australian wines. It's really phenomenal. I wonder what their total amount of different alcohols they've got in this single store. I'll have to ask the gentleman. One thing they have on this middle island here, and I actually saw this photo from the map link last night with these larger Jeroboam bottles, and they've got some vodka here. We've seen this Tito's in the last couple of shops. They've also got the large bottle of Absolute vodka, and they've got some other liqueurs. I think this is all of their specialty bottles. Got large tequilas. I'm not too sure. Are these different, almost like homemade types of wines? There's the large bottle of Jameson. So this is 4.5 litres, this particular one. This has got the cradle, which is really neat. And then I did notice they had the Jack Daniel's bottle. So they've got the bottle with and without the cradle. Now I'll say this again because this is quite interesting. Jack Daniel's is only produced in one place in the world. There's no other distilleries or locations it can be produced. And this bottle cannot be sold in America by law. It can only be exported. So imagine I'm here in Moscow, and this is very normal, and somebody who's watching from America can't walk in a shop and buy this bottle. This would be the largest legal size that's purchasable under US law, 1.75 litres. And then here is the large one sitting right next to it. These are what I really like, these different gift boxes. And when I was working in duty-free on cruise ships, these were always a big favorite to sell because they were very unique packaging. They're easy to give as gifts. And they have something in all the different choices. That Chivas Regal one there with the whiskey glass. These are my favorite easy items to sell when people wanted a gift and they couldn't decide which one to buy. They have a wine collection, which I'm a little bit afraid to open this lid, but it's 3.1 million rubles, but you get their entire selection of their wines from the distillery. It's incredible. And look at these big bottles, and again, these very large magnum or double magnum size bottles. They do also have a wine room in the back as well, where this gentleman's just walking out of, and they do private tastings and they host events for people who want to come and do tastings, or if there's distilleries that will come and represent their products. And then we come around to the whiskey section. And one of my focuses that I wanted to do in this video was to show the amount of whiskeys and American products that are available. And then I come to this place, and the amount of Scotch whiskies, Japanese whiskies, is really just incredible. Now I'm trying to go slow, but it's obviously difficult. And this shop, I think, has the largest selection of American whiskies. There's even a single malt Jack Daniel's there. Jim Beam. They've got Elijah Craig. And then I've been watching a YouTuber recently who's talked about Whistle Pig. And here it is in Moscow. There is so many choices. Yellow Rose. So these are all of the American whiskies right there. And then it moves over to Irish. And there's probably 50 or more different Irish whiskies. It's really just insane. I sent a couple of photographs to a friend who lives in the Bahamas, and we'll get to the rum section in a minute. And even he was shocked that we've got more choices of rum here in Moscow than he can get in the Caribbean, as a place where it's made and produced. And we come to Johnny Walker, or all the products that are from the Diageo range. And they even have there the limited edition Johnny Walker blue bottles. There's the one there for the 200th anniversary of Johnny Walker. And then even there's a couple of the limited edition black label packaging as well. I think they made a limited bottle for all of the different Johnny Walkers for the 200th anniversary. There's the Royal Salute, even the 25-year-old. Every Shivers Regal. So with the whiskies, they pretty much have every bottle from every distillery, and it goes way off in the distance. Now, what I generally know from selling in the duty-free shops is all of the mainstream brands, but we'd only get 1 or 2 types from a distillery, not 6 or 10 different types like you see. Cotswold single malt. Now my translator, when you're watching videos with subtitles, is going to have a bit of a hard time with some of the names, and it's just so interesting. Even the Glenfiddich here, that's every bottle they produce. There is a few more limited edition ones. You've got all of the ages of them. Even Macallan. This has to be the biggest Macallan selection in Russia. Balvenie. Glen Scotia. And then at the bottom there is all of the mainstream ones. Alleya. That's just incredible. When I was thinking about making this video and how I was going to package it or film it, I didn't expect to see shops like this and with this kind of selection. I'm so used to going to my local shops, which we saw in the video, and then to come to somewhere like this, and it's almost like you're lost for words when you're trying to explain it, because I've not seen a selection like this in all the years when I've been traveling around the world. And here I am in Moscow, in a country that's got so many challenges going on with getting products to the country, yet it's all on the shelves right behind me. I have a couple more areas that I want to show you, and then I think we might have covered all of the store. And here is the selection of some of the classic spirits, and actually even the rum selection here is next level. On the cruise ships that I worked on, we were sailing in the Caribbean, and we didn't sell not even 3 or 4 of these choices. And here you've got about 50 or more types of rum. They have some more up the top there. And then the tequila selection as well. I think they don't even have Jose Cuervo. They have 18, oh they do, on the bottom there. Jose Cuervo, bottom shelf, 1800. These are very much the supermarket selection. And then some of these other young and old tequilas. It's really incredible. And is there any drinkers? And then how many choices? Even the different types of Tanqueray that you can get. And these are all new products. I mean, okay, there's a lot of these that are classic, older choices. But in terms of new releases and new products that a brand is making, they're all here on the shelves. Now, what I want to show you, and I didn't ask first, is I want to show you these choices behind the register here. Now, these aren't in any way locked up. Literally, the shelf is just like this. And then you can see back here there is some more older whiskies, rums, and some of the cognacs. Now, of course, these are a little bit higher priced. However, even just the way they're displayed is phenomenal. So there is quite a selection of different products here. They've even got this Fabergé vodka. And then some of these different aged cognacs. They go right to the top. And then I think many people will always consider that Louis XIII is the king of all cognacs. And of course, the price is such as well. This is Hennessy Paradis. And this is the 1.5 litre bottle, which is very rarely found anywhere. All of the Macallans. This is really just silly almost, the choices. I'm being very cheeky by going behind the counter here to have a look at some of these. However, I want to make sure that you get a good look at some of the choices and what they have available in a very typical Russian liquor store. I think I just need to do one more pan around for you to get a perspective of the choices of things in here. I need to do one of those shorts. I don't ever put them on the channel where you walk through and show all of the products. I saw one where a guy in Moscow did it at one of the candy and drink shops, and it got a lot of views because he showed a lot of the products that weren't in Russia that definitely are. Did you find something that you want? Let me know in the comments what it is that you would really like from this shop. As I head on out of Decanter, I really hope you found this interesting. And this shop really is far better than what I expected. Now, I saw a couple of photos of it yesterday, and I was not sure how big or small it was going to be and how much they have. The gentleman said there that they have 7,000 choices across all of the different alcohols. So wine, champagne, liquor, whiskey, cognac. 7,000 choices. And they, I don't know what to say. You know, how it's possible for them to, you know, talk about them to customers as they walk in. Now, while I was there, there was a few people that came and went. Everybody that comes to these sorts of shops are coming here because it's a specialty alcohol shop. This store has by far the best selection in Russia. Now, I wasn't, you know, coming into this video expecting that, and I'm glad I came here as the last stop on the video. I don't know how long this is going now, so if you've made it to the end, thank you so much. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. I would love to come back to this shop and make a standalone video. I did ask the staff if they want to be on this video, and although their English was quite good, they were a little bit nervous to ask or answer any questions, which I completely understand. And it's always nice to have a little bit more of a human interaction rather than me just walking around. So I promised if I come back for another video that I'll ask some questions to the staff working there, because they were so friendly. And I literally just turn up, I walk in and ask them, can I make a video? They're completely okay with it. I could have walked in and just switched the camera on without saying anything, but I don't do that anymore. I'm always polite and let them know what I'm doing. I showed them my channel. So yeah, I think the actual ending is dragging on a little bit now. From way back at the beginning to here we are now in Moscow. I'm gonna go find my metro station. I don't know this area where I am, so I'm gonna have to pull up the map and see which way I've got to walk. Again, thumbs up if you've made it to the end. Perhaps if there's a alcohol bottle or a wine bottle, put that in an emoji and I'll know you made it to the end of the video. Maybe there's the champagne popping one, I think. I know that one exists. If you want to follow me on Telegram, the link is right here. And then if you want to watch an old video, I'm going to put the tour I did at a beer shop. That might be interesting as your next video to watch on the channel. Thanks everybody. I'm off on another adventure. Bye.